Was Nate Diaz really ready for the Jorge Masvidal fight over the weekend? Did Canelo really get his money's worth over Kovalev this weekend? Well, make sure to tune in on what's to come on a Sideline, a sports podcast. Welcome to episode 6 of Sideline Sports Podcast. I am your host, Alex Naveja, and with me tonight is a special guest, Jose Jimenez. Jose,
yes, sir.
Pleasure to be with you. You know, brings back some good old memories of you and me working together here at Long Beach State at the Rec Center.
Yep.
Great times. Pleasure to have you, Jose. How you doing tonight?
Thank you for having me, man. I'm good, dude. After this weekend, I've just literally just been thinking about the fights and waiting to be able to talk to you about them and just to really go into depth and like help the audience really to talk about more fighting. It's like we were talking about before we started the podcast. is really pretty much been legitimized and is in the mainstream now. So just being a part of that, just even like minute little sand that I am in this beach that we call the world and life, I just really love to talk about it, you know. Mm-hmm. But yeah, thanks for having me again.
Jose is just like a little kid in a candy shop right now. But you know what? Before I let you into the candy shop right now, Jose, this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast was brought to you by Lean Mean Meals, like always, ready to bring you guys your meal prep for your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner. They also have detox juices along with your cold brew coffee. And you know what? It's pumpkin spice season, as I like to talk about every episode. You know what? I love my pumpkin spice. I don't know about you. They even have pancakes. They have waffles, pumpkin spice. So, guys, just like you saw it in the video, make sure to place your orders. The promo code is Sideline10. I'll make sure to put the website down into the description. But without further ado, Jose, let's get things started, right?
Yeah, man.
You know what?
Let's
start off. Oh, I know, me too. I think I'm gonna have to get some right after this episode. I'm about to place my order right now with Lean Mean Meals. But
I'm gonna need to get that link, dude. I'm gonna need to get that link.
Hey, man, you just gotta tune down below. It's right there. Because pancakes. That's it. Because pancakes. We're gonna create that as a hashtag, I think.
Oh, hell yeah.
Because pancakes.
That's a good shirt.
There we go. We're gonna make a hashtag say because pancakes.
But
first, let me get my pancakes. And like that. But first, we talk about UFC. Let's get some pancakes.
Yeah,
but on the real talk, you guys, Nate Diaz and Jorge Masvidal.
Yeah.
What a fight it was. But you know what? If you ask me, I really think Nate Diaz was not ready for that fight. I mean, Masvidal had control throughout the whole entire fight. Right when they got things started, Masvidal was just in full control the whole entire fight. And just the damage that he put on Nate Diaz. Just, wow, what a fight that Masvidal put up.
Yeah, Nate Diaz has been in some freaking wars. I'm sure even non-UFC fans have seen the fight between him and Conor McGregor, the first one. Both of them really were left, both of them, but more so Nate Diaz bloodied out. That's pretty much why he got bloodied out and cut up in this fight. Having those scar tissue, I don't have them, thank goodness, but hearing all these fighters, and as much as I follow fighting, you get that scar tissue of like, you know, you see how I can like pull this down?
Yeah.
I can pull this down and it comes right back up, right? Those guys, they pull on that, the skin stays right there.
Oh, wow, that's
they
brutal.
have to like go like this to like be able to, you know, blend it in with the rest of the skin. So it just makes your skin super thin. So with Jorge being the great boxer that he is, connecting with all those hooks and all those punches. I forgot you look at the friggin' strikes between both of them. It's day and night between Jorge and Nate Diaz. So yeah, Nate Diaz was not ready at all, and it would just proof was in the pudding. And the doctor, everybody says that it was controversial. Me watching the fight, I was like, no, I wanted to keep watching. I wanted more. Like, even though this wasn't for like a real title, it was for 5 rounds, 5-minute rounds. Like, that's already nuts for me to think of. Like, I wrestled, and 3-minute periods was like, what the hell? Like, that was nuts to me. But you know, to see that, even me, I was just like, no. But then, like, you got to think about it. Like, the doctor was looking at him in the second round, and then at the end of the third round, after assessing everything that's been going on, you've been eating all these punches. You look at your eye, you're cut up. He got 2 cuts, bro.
Yeah, I believe it was right here, and then one on his eyebrow as well.
Yeah. So his freaking eyebrow was turned back. He got a cut here, a new one, and it's just like, you know, I'm looking at, in retrospect, that's a really good stop. That's a very good stop. A smart stop.
If you're Masvidal, you have to be pretty happy right about there. But you know what? In the post-game conference, Masvidal was saying a little bit that he wants to fight again. He wants to fight Nate Diaz again without no stoppage, no doctor coming in to stop the whole entire fight. He said it himself that he wants to destroy him. And this is a quote. He wants to send him to another dimension.
Yeah.
So do you think that Nate Diaz will get a rematch?
No, they won't. Dana actually said that it was pretty definitive, the fight, after looking at it. And yeah, he said it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
You really have to say,
Yeah.
Masvidal, just what a dominant fighter he is. He's so explosive. He's so quick. He just knows how to analyze the fighters. He knows exactly how to face any fighter that faces him into the octagon, and just what a fighter that he is. But you know what? Nate Diaz, coming from Stockton, California, just to have like that boxing style that he has, very good. Very good. Yeah, you said it just like just right there. But this I don't know. I felt like this fight was not exactly what the fans wanted.
No. You know, yeah, you know, it was so Nate Diaz fans are so damn loyal. I was listening to something that apparently, like, that doctor that called off the fight was getting, like, threats from, like, people tweeting at him.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't think they'll do anything. I think that's just kids, you know, being kids and being assholes, really. But it's how do you say it? Yeah, I mean, like how you mentioned, like how he's from Stockton and whatnot, and that being in the streets and being in those street fights, like. I don't know if you know Jorge Masvidal. He's from Florida, and ever seen his fights on YouTube, those street fights?
I haven't seen the street fights, but I know he's just from Florida.
I remember watching that when those were getting big, like when YouTube was still like becoming like something like not necessarily too mainstream. I remember my cousin, we both like watching fights, and he was like, dude, have you seen this guy? Like these backyard brawls, him and Kimbo Slice. A lot of UFC fans know Kimbo Slice. Yeah. He was under Kimbo Slice's wing. So he would fight these big dudes, like 2-3 times bigger than this guy, and I'm just like, what the hell? So like watching that, for me at least, and looking at Nate Diaz, and after all the wars that he's been in, I'm like, nah, this is gonna be for Nate Diaz, man. And it proved. It was to me at least, it was proven, and I don't think they need a rematch. And that whole BMF thing, they're not gonna, like, Jorge isn't gonna defend that. He's not. Dana White isn't gonna pursue anything WWE like. That's you know, The Rock came in and threw the belt on Jorge and on all that stuff. It's just not gonna happen again. And but it was a great fight. It was a great fight. And Jorge's just, with this fight, Jorge's just gonna go above and beyond. I don't know if you've heard of this. He wants to fight Canelo.
Really?
He wants to fight Canelo, dude.
Wow.
He wants that paper. That's the thing. These fighters, like, now, like, you look at, I think Canelo made 30-something million, and it sounds about right? 30-something million. He made something like 30+ million. Jorge made, guess how much?
Man, I don't
guess
even have a slice.
Do you think he made $1 million?
I'm gonna say he made some pretty
more than
pretty
$1
good,
million.
more than $1 million.
He made $500,000.
Are you serious? That's it?
$500,000. That's boxing.
Wow.
That's boxing and mixed martial arts for you right there. So, like, for somebody like Jorge to get this kind of win against a big name like Nate Diaz, who beat Conor McGregor, like, everybody knows who Conor McGregor is. You don't need to like UFC or boxing to know who Conor McGregor is.
He's a big icon for UFC.
Notorious, right? The notorious one. So this is just his career is gonna skyrocket right after this.
I feel like Masvidal is going to be a big time name now for UFC if it's not already. I mean, this is already a big time fighter, and I think he got a big time win right there against Nate Diaz. And even then, Dana White in the post game conferences, he even said, "Yeah, the doctor. I think that was a legitimate move by the doctor because he said when he saw Nate Diaz, he had his eyebrow hanging out right in front of his eye. But I mean." Nate Diaz is Nate Diaz. He's gonna keep fighting. It could be dripping blood like the shower water, and it could be just raining blood. And he will still say, "Let's go." Until you either finish him off, leave him cold, or the time runs out. That's just it. And that's just who Nate Diaz is. He's just a monster. He's an animal, and that's how he is in the octagon. But I say that was a great move by the doctor. Imagine how much more damage Masvidal could have done.
A lot more. He could have given him another cut in the other eye because he, or just keep going for that one. That one's already damaged, so why, let's open it up some more. That's the game plan when it comes to fighting. You wanna kill the guy. You wanna think that this guy's he's taking money off of my table for my kids and my wife, and just my life in general. That's how you gotta think of it because that's what that guy's thinking. On the other side of the ring, so that's just the way it is. And I don't know if you've heard, Nate Diaz was saying like, was gonna get him in the 4th and the 5th round and whatnot. I'm like,
oh no,
like because he was like hurt or something like that, and so because of that he couldn't get his running in, his cardio in, so that he can be in shape, like or 100% in shape. I love the guy, but I'm just like, man, that's an excuse, dude. That's like you lost. Like it's just give it to him.
Accept defeat.
Yeah, exactly. It already happened. Just take the L and let that eye heal up, and hopefully fight McGregor again or something. I don't know.
To at least try to bring him back up.
Exactly.
And what's gonna be next for Nate Diaz? He just accepted this loss. I mean, he's got he's got not 2 eyes, but he's got his eyebrow, and then he's got the bottom part of his eye that's gonna need some recovery. So, what do you think is going to be next for Diaz?
I think he's going to push, like I said, for a McGregor fight. Honestly, because before this, he was out for like 2 years. And then before that, he was out for another 2 years. So he's had so many stints that I think really he's either going to go out and stay out or he's going to do a couple more fights. But besides that, I don't see him really staying in the UFC for so long because of that damn eye. I mean,
that's gonna take a while.
He keeps getting cut, and it's his game. It's his game plan to take shots and then give them back. That's who Nate Diaz is, and I feel personally like he should stop because of that. Just because of that, like it's over, dude. Like if you want to keep getting beat up and get whatever. Like you've seen, I'm sure you saw Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell,
right?
2 dinosaurs.
Exactly.
Fighting. Like, I mean, if you want to fight, you can fight. You clearly see the opportunities, but Conor fought Mayweather, so why can't Jorge fight Canelo? So that's what he's trying to do right now. He's trying to get the big bucks, get the big paychecks like he's been wanting to. So if that doesn't happen, then Kamaru Usman in the same division, Kamaru Usman and Colby Covington are gonna fight. They're already scheduled to fight. I forget when exactly. I don't think it's this Saturday. I don't think it's that soon. But they're scheduled to fight for the title. So we'll see what happens there. And then from there, maybe Jorge fights one of them. I hope Jorge fights Colby, though, because that's actually a very interesting rivalry. They used to be like roommates coming up in mixed martial arts. And now Colby's like talking all this smack. Apparently when Colby won the interim title, he didn't pay his trainer. The same trainer as Jorge at the time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So that's where like the beef started between Jorge and Colby. Colby not paying there's the same trainer as them, and then leaving the team eventually. I guess he burned that bridge, and Jorge wasn't about that. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Colby's the one on. You know who Colby is? Have you heard the name?
Right. Yeah.
He's the one with the "Make America Great Again."
Right.
That guy. He's just a clown, really, just trying to pull those publicity stunts and being successful in it, of course, but that's pretty much what would be next. I hope the Canelo fight first.
That would be. It's a big time publicity right there.
Oh yeah.
Big time for boxing, for UFC. I mean, that was a huge deal when it was Mayweather and McGregor. I thought it was a great fight. I mean, McGregor, I felt like he was.
McGregor came out hot.
Yes, he did. He came out guns blazing.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that was a problem for him because once in the later stages, Mayweather saw, oh, you're tired. I'm gonna take advantage of you. I'm gonna beat you right now. And
he let him. He let him throw those punches. Like in the UFC, if you're a wrestler, what your plan should be is I'm gonna wrestle this fool in the first and the second round. I'm gonna get him tired. Either the first round, finish him in the second, or finish him in the third. And that's basically what Mayweather did to Conor. You're in my world now. He ate some shots. Mayweather ate some damn big shots.
Yes, he did.
Some uppercuts, some hooks, and dude, he ate them, and he was like, okay, whatever. I'm gonna let you have the light real quick, and then just had that Mayweather defense and just kept popping him. He threw some uppercuts himself and beat him. And I honestly think that that's exactly what's gonna happen to Jorge if he were to fight Canelo. But that's a different story, obviously.
So we're talking a little bit about boxing. Let's transition over to the Canelo fight against Kovalev. That one was a pretty good fight as well. I mean, Canelo, the first couple of rounds, you saw him playing just defense. Hands were protecting his face most of the time. He was just sitting back, really allowing just landing blows. He landed a grand total of, I believe, 37% of the punches that were thrown at him. He had some great defense on there, just taking some throws or taking some punches. Then later on in the fight, that's when he started to get comfortable. Okay, I'm getting comfortable with the fight. I'm gonna start throwing some punches. He had a couple of swipes. He had a couple of uppercuts. He had some great counters going on. He had a lot of great power punches. Then once that 11th round came in, that's how you knew he was comfortable.
Oh, yeah.
You knew that it was going to be game over.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when he came in and he saw windows of openings. He came in with the right, then he saw he was starting to lose his footing, then came in with the left, and that's how he ended up dropping down. But just
it was beautiful.
It was a great finish for Canelo. But what were your thoughts on that fight?
It was beautiful, dude. I'm not a Canelo fan, to be honest, only because of the whole taco thing with the meats and all that stuff. But he's a friggin' great boxer. After all this that you were talking about, how you were explaining his fight and everything that he was doing, all of this is because of Mayweather, really. Look at that fight. After that fight, and he looks like Mayweather. He's coming in. And then next thing you know, he's waiting for a jab to come in, and he dodges it, and then next thing you know, comes in with a straight right. Textbook Mayweather type stuff. And that left hook that he landed, if you look at the whole fight, he's throwing the left hook to the body. So Kovalev is expecting that left hook to the body after that right. Next thing you know, he throws a hook to his head, and that's what finished him and left him hanging on the ropes right there. He was knocked out on his feet, dude. He was knocked out on his feet with that left hook. Knocked out his feet, and the perfect finisher, bink.
You knew he was already getting dazed because when he came in with the left and getting him on the side, that's when you kind of saw him leaning over to the side, and that's when Canelo saw that window of opportunity, finished him right there with the right, and that's how he finished him right there. Kovalev just could not. Yeah, it's just you got to have the eye for the act. You got to see your windows of opportunity because in boxing you don't get very many opportunities. But you know what? Canelo saw it, played some great defense, had the gloves up, protected himself very well. Kovalev had a couple of holes, and Canelo plugged it up and used it. And you know what? That's a great way of explaining it. You know, Mayweather does have that style of plays back. And then once he sees like an opportunity, he analyzes you. Once he sees that opportunity, that's when he comes in and he uses your mistakes against you. And that's exactly the way that Mayweather fights. So you know what? This is a good boxer taking notes from a great boxer. So Canelo, you have to give him some props for doing that. You know, good boxers really taking notes from these great ones. What are these great ones doing? You know. What are they doing so I can do that too? So I can get some knockouts. Why is Mayweather so successful? I want to be successful as well. So it makes sense that Canelo would do that, you know?
To me it's the perfect combination of, Canelo. Before that he was known as like Julio Cesar Chavez.
That's a big name.
just always coming in, always coming forward, not necessarily defending, eating shots, exactly like Canelo. It's exactly what Canelo was doing, basically. And now he after that Mayweather fight, unlike Nate Diaz, how we were talking about being kind of a sore loser, making excuses, if anything. If I'm gonna say, they're excuses. Canelo took that L against Mayweather and learned from it. He learned that defense is just as important, if not more important, in the long run when it comes to your own well-being, for your brain, is defense. Defense is important. Defense is very important, and that's what Canelo has proved, that he's taken that with the L of Mayweather and has incorporated it in these fights and got him a third title, or not a third title in general, but a third weight class from his original. I think he was 140 or 150, and it's gone up to 170, 175.
He went
dude,
up.
what? Pretty sure it has to do with some tacos, but hey, whatever, Kovalev said yes, he signed the paper, it's whatever, but yeah.
And there was a big time age difference as well.
Yeah.
How old is Canelo? Is he 29?
Yeah,
he's
like
29. Kovalev, I believe, is 36.
Yeah, 36, 35.
He's around their high 30s, mid 30s, right there. So it's just a big time age difference right there, and then a big height difference as well.
Yeah.
Kovalev had the height right there in that fight, and you know what? Kovalev was actually throwing more punches, and if you look at it, Kovalev did throw more punches. He had about 300 punches thrown, and then Canelo had about 100.
Yeah, that's what Kovalev needed, though. I mean, they both had that game plan going in. The only thing is that Canelo executed. I don't know what Kovalev was to try to stop him or to try to just outpoint him or what, but Canelo just did everything perfect. He was going for the body, and when you go for the body, dude, that's like, you think you have good conditioning, and the next thing you know, you get punched here and here or here, and just like, that takes like a lot of notches off of your stamina, a lot. And he was, like I said, he was going to the body, and the next thing you know, throws a hook. He was throwing that left hook to the body. He's always doing he's a perfect, always left hook to the body, trying to rip the body. And the next thing you know, the 10th, 11th round?
The 11th.
Next thing you know, boom, Kovalev thing is coming to the body, leaves this open, boom, out on his feet, and just perfect right hand down the pipe. So,
just beautiful execution by Canelo there, and it's just when you take those blows to the body, like you were saying, it's like when you played Fight Night. You played Fight Night, right? It's like the energy level just went down, just goes down all the way, and it takes the air out of you, and
you want to wait and just recover, but you can't.
You just can't. You just gotta keep. You just gotta keep fighting. You just gotta keep fighting, and you know what? That's the thing about Canelo. When his blows are insane. There's just so much power in them. This is a powerful boxer. You take one punch, and that's already going to take your power, like your energy level, all the way down. This is just a very strong boxer at its finest, and I just think, despite him being 29, I still think he has a bright future ahead of him, even though 30 is coming around for Canelo. I still feel like he has a bright future ahead of him.
I think so. We'll see how DAZN goes. We can talk about how DAZN, their production, was ridiculous in my opinion. I was watching both fights. I was watching the UFC and Canelo fights. And well, we weren't paying attention to the prelims and all that, but as soon as Canelo was about to happen, cámbiale, Canelo's going to fight.
Let's put it on, it on.
Yeah, my dad especially. Cámbiale. And I was going back and forth, and I'm just like, all right, put it back. I put it back to Canelo. Next, Kovalev is slumped sitting down, and Canelo is, getting loose. Ryan Garcia, who fought the co-man, is already there. He's already dressed. He already took a shower. Dude he's waiting to watch one of the biggest fights. He's waiting to watch history. Canelo is going to be the second boxer to be able to win championships in 3 different weight classes. Like history, dude. And Ryan Garcia is ready to see it. I'm ready to see it. My dad's ready to see it. And they're not fighting. They're not fighting because Oscar de la Hoya knows all of these eyes are on ESPN Plus watching the Jorge and Nate Diaz fight. So he has them waiting. I don't think anybody went in the locker room to tell them anything. We're waiting for this. We're doing that. And if I'm Canelo, dude, I'm pissed. I don't know if he's got the $300 million in the bank already, but I'd be pissed, dude. Like, what is this? Like, where'd you get this money then? Like, what kind of production, kind of professionalism is this? If anything at all. That's why I'm like really like for HBO to not have boxing anymore is I think one of the biggest reasons why DAZN is still popular and has like such crappy but has crappy production. So, I do see Canelo. I have a feeling if Canelo were to fight Jorge, that's going to open the floodgates in the future for other fighters, both in the UFC and in boxing, to meet.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Munoz, and I play for the Guatemala women's national team, and you're here watching Sideline Sports Podcast.
Welcome back to Sideline Sports Podcast, presented by Lean Mean Meals. Now, let's finish up and talk about a little bit about college football. We have USC and UCLA. Let's first start talking about UCLA. I mean, they're on a 3-game winning streak right now with conference opponents like Colorado, ASU, and Stanford. These are big-time opponents, especially against Stanford. And they're getting the job done, and they're scoring more than 30 points in that 3-game winning streak.
Yeah, well, I hope they keep it up, man. I know that they're not as successful against in men's volleyball. Like, since we're here in Long Beach, gotta mention that. But yeah, dude. But like you mentioned, they're gonna play Utah next, and then right after that, USC. They got a pretty tough schedule ahead of them. So we'll see how this continues. But I do see UCLA coming up on top, maybe meeting Utah in the end or something like that. But I do see UCLA continuing something, even if Utah were to beat them, I do see UCLA like beating USC right after that.
You know what? That would be a big time win if UCLA can beat Utah. That is their next opponent. They're gonna play against number 8 Utah, the Utes, and you know what? That's gonna be a tough game. And you know what? They're not even here in LA. They're over there at Utah.
I was about to say, they're at Utah.
And they're at Utah.
Yeah.
So this is going to be a big-time game for UCLA. I would say this is a must-win game for UCLA. They're currently tied up right now with their arch rivals USC right now. Mm-hmm. They're both 4-2 right now in the Pac-12 Conference South Division. So I'm going to be curious to see what the game plan is for UCLA. This is a team that didn't exactly start as hot. I mean, they were playing against a tough pre-conference schedule, but even then, it was all
1-2 when they began, or
it was a tough start.
Yeah,
it was a very tough start for UCLA.
Well, even though they've come through that, I think that's what's gonna, like I said, they're gonna be on top. I think that's gonna be part of what that helps them get up there. They've been through that trial and tribulation to begin with. And I think they're going to finish strong, dude. Like, in most football games that I've seen, it's always down to, like, the last minute. And I feel like UCLA is going to be one of those teams that ends up on top at the last minute.
The last minute. And you know what? They do have some tough couple opponents coming up. We're just talking about number 8 Utah. Then they're going to have to go down the freeway. I don't know what freeway. Is it the 405? They might have to go down the 405 over to their arch rivals.
If there's not a lot of traffic, maybe they'll have to go through the roads. So use Waze is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, use. I think that's a great idea. But the point that I'm trying to say is they're going to have to play against the Trojans. That's their second to the last game. And then they have their final homestand and the final game of the season, and it's going to go against Cal. So if UCLA can at least finish 2-1, I'm saying with a win with a loss against Utah, but then you win against USC and against Cal, I think that's a pretty good finish right there. They're 4-2 right now. Then they're going to finish up at 6-3, which is a pretty good finish in the South Division. But it's not going to come easy for them. As now making the transition, talking a little bit about USC, that's not going to be easy for USC either. I mean, USC, they're dealing with their number 2 quarterback, Keaton Slovis. And Slovis, I don't know what it is about USC and their secondary quarterbacks, but the secondary quarterbacks always get the job done. And USC, just coming off of that painful loss against Oregon, I believe they're ranked 7th.
Oregon did.
Oregon is 7th in the nation right now,
Is
so
USC
big
ranked
time.
in the nation right now?
No, you know what? In the beginning of conference play, they were in the conference standings when they played against Stanford. Mm-hmm. Stanford was was number 24.
Okay.
Then when USC beat Stanford, that's when USC became number 24. But ever since then, some disappointing losses, I would say. And if you ask me, USC should not lost against BYU, against the Fighting Irish. And I still think there could have been a fight against Oregon. But it's not exactly how you start, it's how you finish.
Exactly.
And USC had a strong start over the weekend, but just could not get the job done against Oregon. And you know what? Oregon's playing some hot football right now. They are 8-1 right now.
Yeah, I think getting stumped like that so many times during the season already. The season isn't even over yet. I think that is gonna take a toll on them. You did mention that these second string quarterbacks they have been getting the job done. Especially like last season, how we saw who was a quarterback? I forget the names of these guys last year. Second string last year.
I forgot who the second string quarterback was last year.
I do remember though. I mean, they were able to do pretty well at the end. But like I said, UCLA, they're gonna meet a tough opponent in Utah, and I think that game time that they're gonna have against them, I think that's gonna prove to be very useful for them down the line. And like I said, I think they're gonna get the W against USC. I think they're gonna get the W against Cal Berkeley, if anything, maybe close. But I mean, I used to be a USC fan, big USC fan, but like seeing UCLA and how they're operating right now, I honestly think that they're going to continue to do well. Do you know what is their biggest strength right now? You think UCLA?
UCLA right now, I mean, coming off really hot, the offenses have been working phenomenally.
Mm-hmm.
They're scoring over 30 points a game. I mean, we're talking about 34, 42, 31. Those are the numbers of the points that they ended up finishing up with in the last three opponents.
And looking 16 that the other team scored, 14 that Colorado scored. ASU scored 32. That's a nail biter, but still, it's like their defense must be doing pretty well too. Something's working with their defense. When growing up, trying to learn more about football, I call it American football, but just in my household. But trying to learn the rules, I learned that a lot of times it's really hard to get that balance of
it's either offense or defense,
right.
But UCLA has been doing both.
And I think that's what's going to really help them, dude. If they keep that, I mean, they have that right now. What I've learned is that if you have a really, really good offense, you'll probably make it to the end. If you have a really, 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 really good defense, you'll probably be like the Steelers, steel curtain, and you'll win so many Super Bowls, But because of that logic is what I think is going to put UCLA up there again.
So now let's talk a little bit about USC right now. USC also tied for that second spot in the Pac-12 South Division. They are 4-2 also, and USC definitely going to win against UCLA, and I can definitely expect the stadium, the Coliseum, to be loaded with just maroon and that baby blue all over the place. But again, the Coliseum is going to dominate.
Yep.
And of course, I think the homestand for USC, I really think they're going to dominate against UCLA. And I truly believe USC can finish the last three games 3-0.
Wow. I wouldn't be surprised, dude. Wouldn't be surprised. It's football.
And just the way USC, the way they started against Oregon, it was a great start.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just not the way you want to finish,
right.
Especially against a contending team like Oregon. Yeah, they're a tough team. This is number 7 Oregon that you're playing against, but you got to play better football right there. You have to have a game like you did against the Fighting Irish against Notre Dame.
Right.
They had one heck of a game against the Fighting Irish. I still believe they should have won that one. There was only the difference between a play or two throughout the game.
That was an away game for the USC, right?
That was an away game for them.
That's the one that I was watching then that I was mentioning to you.
That one, great game to take in right there. Just two great teams that play year in, year out. Every year these two teams played against each other. But you know what? Again, these are just one of the games that I really think USC should have won. Like we mentioned before, BYU against Notre Dame. Those are games that they should have won. But this weekend, the loss was definitely deserved for USC. But I mean, we'll see what happens. Their next game is going to be over at ASU on Saturday. That's a 12:30 game, I believe. I believe they're going to be airing it on ABC. So for those of you that want to watch that game, you can definitely tune in on ABC. But that's going to do it for us here in Sideline Sports Podcast. But before we say goodbye, this episode of Sideline Sports Podcast was brought to you by Lean Mean Meals. Make sure to get all of your meal prep done with them. They do breakfast, lunch, and dinner for you guys. They also have their detox juices along with their cold brew coffee. And again, our hashtag that Jose and I are going to create, because pancakes.
Because pancakes.
Because
that's all you really need.
That's it. We're just gonna make a hashtag because pancakes, and we're just gonna have a picture of pancakes right here. And you know what? You guys can get those pancakes over at Lean Mean Meals. I'll put the promo code Sideline10 down in the description along with the website. So make sure to order yourselves some pancakes and some meal prep along with that. And if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. And again, thank you so much to Jose Jimenez for joining us on the show today and, giving us that insight on both of the fights and a little bit of some college football today.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Well, Jose, again, pleasure to have you on the show. This is Alex Naveja, your host, signing off for tonight. We'll see you guys next week. Don't know what's to come. We got some great people coming up, even pro athletes coming your way. Don't sleep on it. We'll be right back. We'll see you guys soon.